and then he left.
Well,
Okay.
maybe he got kicked out.
And we are back live with the Blame Girl podcast with Mr. Terry Wayne, who just got kicked out right when we were logging on. And we got Mendemo in the house of Laughing Spree.
What's up? I'm here.
Okay, baby.
Uh-oh,
right.
we up now. I can see it. It's everywhere.
Here we go. We got that Terry Wayne back in the room.
Bitch, you worldwide.
Yeah. I wish. I wish.
That's what YouTube is.
It is.
Worldwide.
But who's watching us worldwide?
I don't know.
Terry's got the world behind him. All right. So, Minda, how was your weekend?
Good. We were, as you know, super sick. Yeah, shout out to traveling. Because now no matter how many times I look like the only idiot wearing a mask on the plane, one of us still gets sick every time we travel because of all you irresponsible people out there who can't just be sick and wear a mask if you need to get someplace. It's okay. And then
was it the Rona?
What's that?
Was it the Rona?
I don't know. No, it wasn't. I mean, I tested negative at home for it. I don't know what that means anymore. But it's just something that happens now every time we travel, and we travel pretty often for comedy and whatnot. So it's getting super annoying. But it did allow us to reflect with 2 weeks of sobriety. And last night was our first night out. Shout out to Craft Cocktails in Delray, or actually Boynton. And we did like a date night.
Nice.
And caught back up on all the drinking we missed out on for 2 weeks.
Nice. Now, so you say 2 weeks you were sick for?
Well, yeah, because 2 weeks.
That's crazy.
Well,
and you say 2 weeks. Go ahead.
2 weeks of it not being out of our system, not feeling 100%, not 2 weeks of me like not working or whatever. I would say it was probably
they just quarantined for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Quarantine.
We stayed in, we let our bodies, you know.
I went by to see him once. I popped in.
She brought soup.
Yeah.
Shout out to good friends hooking it up. It was really good soup. Dan was very impressed with your cooking skills.
Thank you. That's one of my best soups.
Blame Girl can cook. That's what he said in my house. Yeah.
You hear that, Terry?
I hear it.
Have I ever made the caldo sochi for you?
What's that?
Did I ever make caldo sochi for you?
I don't think so. Normally I did all the cooking.
Yeah, because you cook better, but I feel like I would have made something just to be like, look, I can cook too. I know I did. So, but
you've made things. I came to your place for Thanksgiving. You made a bunch of stuff. You've made stuff, but no, just never that. But yeah, you say because you're sick and you want to be 100%. Whenever I get sick, I have no problem having like a hot toddy. You know, usually ends up making me feel better a little bit. So. That was my grandfather's thing. And for those of you who don't know, it's like tea. It's like hot tea, whiskey, honey, lemon, and like clove powder.
It'll put your ass to sleep. I know that. I've had them.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Terry,
yes,
how
it
was
will.
your weekend?
Very relaxing. I didn't do much this weekend. I am now using some of my free time to have a new outline for a new novel. So I'm starting that. Because somebody pointed out when I gave it to him to read, the one that I finished, they pointed out another book that's a very similar premise, very similar, that I've never read before. And then I read it and I was like, oh, so now I'm putting that one on the shelf. I don't know if I'm ever going to do anything with it. Because I had already started editing it, and that's the part I hate, that it just takes so long, and you have to go through, and you have to do it like 3 times.
You've written another book, but you are not sure if you want to put that one out.
Right, because there's another book that's very similar, and much like in comedy, I don't want to be accused of any kind of, underhanded plagiarism things. But this one's brand new. I've already researched it. There's nothing like it out there, so. But I wrote the outline this weekend and just some of the character development. So, but I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be really good. I think it's going to be better than anything I've ever written, to be honest. And, but no, mainly just relaxing because, last weekend was a bit hectic trying to feed 2,000 people. So,
yeah. Did you work this weekend?
No, I've actually, this was a 3-day weekend for me. So I've been off since Friday.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow I go back to the corporate office. So it'll be fun.
All right. Well, my weekend was pretty chill. I did not do much yesterday. I just went, I like just hung out. Like I went and hung out with Chris Shepard and Shira on Friday,
Mm-hmm.
and we went to a food truck thing. And Saturday, I hung out with my girl Mindy. We went to go catch the new Ghostbusters,
Mm-hmm.
which I really love. It was a lot of fun. I haven't been to the movie in a while. And then we walked home because I'm
Our
to the Ave, so that was nice. We walked and got like, you know,
our
went to the
friend, our
farmer's
comedy
market.
friend is in that movie. Did you know that, Minda?
No, who's in?
Adam Murray is in that movie. He's in
Oh,
the new Ghostbusters. He's in the mid trailer scene, like the post trailer
yeah, he
scene.
has a unique look. I could see that working
Yeah.
for him in movies.
I
Mhm.
gotta see who Adam Murray is because I'm like,
You've probably already seen him. He was on Stranger Things, was his big, like,
oh, I've
kind of,
met Adam. I know Adam Murray.
yeah, and old Mr. Jellyfish.
So I wonder, trying to remember who he was in there. All right. Well, let's get to blaming. Are y'all ready to do some blaming?
He doesn't want to
Oh
play.
yeah, can't wait.
I know who doesn't want to blame. All right. Let's talk about the stupid eclipse. Who's to blame?
I bought some of those glasses to not for me, for Miranda to watch the eclipse through. I'll be at work, but uh I bought them and I thought, oh, that'd be nice, bring these home without warning and just say, hey, enjoy the eclipse. And she's like, thanks. So we could give two shits in this house about it because I mean,
Are y'all even in the path of totality? I think that's when it's
no, we're at 90%.
Wait. We gotta address
No,
why.
I know about the path of
Why does that
totality. I
crack
think
you up?
because it's just so ridiculous.
He
The fact that they
cracked
got
up.
like a
Oh my-
fancy name for seeing the path of totality. Like, get the fuck out of here,
Why
CNN.
did that?
Like, no, please stop. It's
That's so funny.
Oh,
All
man.
right, Minda, what are your thoughts on the
my thoughts on the eclipse is I think that's the last time Trump was entertaining is when he refused to wear the glasses for the last eclipse.
That was
And
the
I
only
just
reason
feel
I
like
think of.
that would be me. Like, I'm gonna be the one who's like, I don't need these fucking glasses.
And then
Like,
still
I'm
go
just
be
gonna look,
like-
yeah, and tell the family to look, the children to look without glasses. Like, I have no problem with that. So
Are you gonna look?
you can't look, it's not coming to Florida.
Yeah, you can. I saw this morning. So
No,
The-
you cannot see it from
tomorrow is the eclipse, if you guys don't know.
I'm shaking.
And yes, you can. You'll be at 70% from Florida, so the moon won't be completely blocked out.
No, I ain't walking outside
I mean,
for 70%.
the sun won't be completely blocked out, but
I'm not, if it's not a whole path of totality, I'm not walking outside.
I'm
What now you're using it. You're saying path of totality.
No, I know. I'm saying it because it's ridiculous. It's
Are you in the path of totality, Terry?
We're at 90% here.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm bragging.
And
Let me say this. Ain't
I
nobody
think
gonna be at
let
Cracker Barrel
me
on fucking-
explain my feelings on this. Let me explain my feelings on this. Okay, because it's not that I think that the whole eclipse thing is stupid. I think it's really cool for children because it kind of shows them like, oh, there's stuff going on up there that's bigger than me, and it's kind of fascinating for children. It's like Clifford the Big Red Dog. It's nice for kids, but if you like it as an adult, or Disney is another good example. It's nice for
There's a lot of
children, but
Disney
if you
stuff.
like it as an adult, you're kind of a weirdo. You know
Like,
what I mean?
how miserable do you have to be to not enjoy the eclipse in space?
What? Enjoy it.
Hey, I think an eclipse happens
It's
almost.
exciting.
I think an eclipse happens almost every single night. I think eclipse happens almost every single night, and we give it no love, no pay, and it's called the cycle of the lunar schedule. You know what I mean? So
No, but it does not. It's no, Terry. That's not it. It does not.
yes,
block
it is.
out-
It's an eclipse in reverse.
The moon
We are
does not block
blocking
out
the
the
sun.
sun every day. Like, and they said this
No,
is not happening.
no, almost every single day, the Earth blocks out the sun from the moon. So it's like an eclipse in
Oh.
reverse, and nobody gives a shit. So why should I give a shit about this?
Or
Well, we
hold up,
won't
hold
see
up,
another
no.
eclipse, a totality eclipse for another 20 years in the US. So it's
Okay, well,
exciting.
I watched the last one. If
No,
if
no,
I wasn't
everything
working, I'd
is
probably go outside and
nice.
look at this.
I have an exciting life, and I still think the eclipse is exciting because when I was a kid, I loved space. I wanted to be a scientist.
Go to space camp.
Mhm.
I wanted to go to space
You
camp.
can still do it.
I don't want to
They'll
do it
take
now.
money.
I'm good. I'm an
They
adult.
do have it for adults.
Now
by the way.
that's
Thank
too
you.
much. That's too
Yeah.
much. Going to space camp is too much at my age. I'm good.
Okay, then follow Neil deGrasse Tyson on
I do.
on
I
his
love him.
podcast.
I bet
Yeah.
he's excited about the eclipse.
Well, of course he is.
See, neither one of y'all.
I don't know. I don't think anyone.
I listen to his podcast. It's if you want to do that, that's free.
You what?
I listen to his podcast, but
I don't even listen to this podcast. Tell me what he says.
all the time.
No, about the eclipse.
Oh, he's typically excited about it. This is the first time in this totality, it's like, all right. Yeah, he's super excited about it. I prefer when he talks about like quantum mechanics or string theory, or when he gets into the real deep stuff, time as it relates to wormholes. But
Trump is trying to eclipse the Nebraska election.
Good transition.
Thank you. By altering their electoral voting system. He wants to, in Nebraska, it is not winners take all in their electoral college, and Trump wants to do that in his favor, guys. Who's to blame? Why does he think he had like
the fact that
for him?
There's good news and bad news on this one, which is why I threw it in there, because nobody's really reporting on it. And I mean, some people are, but not in any kind of major way. But there's two things to learn from that move. And it's, first of all, the law that they're trying to change and put in place before this election would only yield him at best case one additional electoral vote, which means he might be pretty concerned about, if he's thinking, oh, I need every single one to stand a chance here. And that's good news. And the bad news is, if he accomplishes this goal through the GOP controlled Nebraska state legislation, it sets a precedent. And not only that, it puts more thoughts in his mind about changing electoral laws all over the country. And this is how, like, this is one step towards authoritarianism. So, like, I hate the fact that he's having these ideas, and we're even talking about it scares the shit out of me.
But the outcome was a meager 8-6 in favor of change. So it's not like he has that much pull. And I don't think that he will be able to change it. And so maybe we're not as close. Maybe we're pulling further away from.
I don't think he's going to be able to accomplish all this shit that I'm worried about. But the fact that people are even listening to it and going along with some of it, and that people like us aren't more concerned about it, is the part that's scary to me. It's authoritarianism in America doesn't frighten me. What frightens me is there's a lot of people in this country who like the way that sounds.
Minda, what do you think about his move to try to alter specifically Nebraska's electoral system?
I think his power is irrelevant, and this is just another irrelevant thing that he's doing. And I think by the fact that the Democrats have completely given up, they are seeing something in the data where, like, it's not possible for him to win, and they're just funneling all the money to local elections, and they're going to let Biden ride out on women's rights and a couple other key issues that's going to make them win. And they have stopped fighting for whatever reason. And I hope it's only because there's some data that they're seeing or polling that's kind of making this election as irrelevant as it actually is, because both candidates suck ass.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to come out and vote.
Oh my God. This is so crazy reminiscent of what people were saying in 2016. Like, it is so
and now I'm
crazy.
over here. You just woke me up because I'm over here thinking, yeah, hopefully America's like, I'm still gonna vote, but yeah, like
It's literally the
if that
exact
happens again,
same
then
thing
you
they
will
were
win.
saying in 2016.
Shit.
I know, but like worse things like the abortion rights and stuff have
Right.
happened since then. And I think I just think there's a giant chunk of moderates and females that have been lost in the short term.
Yeah.
I hope that you are right. I really want you to be right. But
I mean,
what you just said it instantly took me back to
well,
Clinton.
that's because the Democrats continue to have an inability to provide a quality candidate.
Yeah,
And
I
what's
agree.
crazy is at such a deficit with so much time for them to find somebody. Like nobody is trying to do that shit or wants to be a part of it or is capable enough to do it. And so you have one dude who nobody's really sure if he's a robot or not, or if he's like alive or dead, or like what's happening. And then you have Trump, a total fucking cartoon character who like clearly has lost his mind with authoritarianism. I mean, if he could be China, he would be China or North Korea.
Yeah.
Or Cuba.
100%.
You know?
100%.
I
And
think
the funny thing is that there's so many Cubans that are backing Trump because he speaks like he doesn't want communism, but he acts as though he really loves it. So it's amazing to me that anti-Castro Cubans are backing him.
I think that what Minda said was right. I think that his support has just waned. I mean, look at his events that he's having. They're not that great. He's not getting as much press other than when he's getting criminal penalties because he's guilty.
I was going to say he's on the news every day.
Yeah, but
so,
it's not, because we're seeing these like campaigns that he had in 2016. I know I'm showing my age.
I don't know. He better check himself with this changing of the system because that's the only thing that might. I mean, he's running for president, right? To not go to jail.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. I don't even know if he would be
he's
president if it wasn't to exonerate himself from all this time and money that he could owe based on his.
Well, it's pretty simple. It's his ego. He can't stand that. It's the whole reason why he says the election was rigged and he refuses to back down on that. It's not because he doesn't know that he just lost. He knows people in private. His confidants have come out and said, yeah, like he knew when he lost. He knew the night he lost. But his ego will not allow him to just take an L and move on, like as you say. His ego is so swole and dangerous to the people around him that nobody's willing to challenge that. Nobody.
That's a lot like why his followers do like him, though, that he has that personality trait that he's not willing to take an L. He'll lie. He'll just like act like he does now,
Yeah, he's living in a fantasy world. Or he wants others to live in the fantasy world. He is just sitting on top of his power, imaginary power throne, kind of like China. So,
well, I know one thing. He's definitely responsible for the hit that women's reproductive rights have taken.
Yep.
And in Florida, now we have a 15-week ban, and they won't stop. But
technically, you have a 6-week ban right now.
I mean, that's what I meant. A 6-week. We have a 6-week ban.
Yeah. Which is basically just a total abortion ban because most women don't even realize.
They won't. Yeah, nobody even knows they're pregnant.
But they won't stop. Yeah. And the thing is, it's only kind of a ban. And that is because the Floridians are taken to change our constitution. Y'all, who's to blame? Why are Floridians like this?
Well, to put a finer point on it, the Supreme Court of Florida has allowed a 15-week ban to be enshrined on the state constitution. They've allowed it on the ballot. So now it's just up to Floridians, which, all jokes aside about Floridians, I believe in them because 80% of the country believes in a woman's right to choose in some form or another. Nobody likes these. Even there's Republican women, there's conservative women that I know in my life that are like, all right, enough with this. The people who are pro-life, but they're like, there are always cases. And I am personally affected by this right now because I have a pregnant wife in the other room who is almost 12 weeks pregnant, or who is 12 weeks pregnant. We didn't find out till she was about 6.5 weeks that she was. So, and not only that, I live in a very red state right now. And if something happens to her medically, and we would have to terminate to save her life, I'm going to have to go through that process. And the best case scenario is to drive 5 hours or 4 hours over to Virginia. That's about the best case option. And we were talking about the other night because the amniocentesis is coming up. And we were having the conversation that no parents want to have, which is, what do we do if we find out there's a chromosomal issue? Do you proceed?
Yeah.
Do you try again? Do you, what do you do? Nobody wants to have that conversation, and knock on wood, God willing, I won't have to have that decision to make, but it should be our decision to make. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, like having a nephew with, having a niece and 2 nephews now with medical issues, I understand the burden. I've seen it for 14 years now. So I don't know which way I would go, to be honest, and I don't even like thinking about it. But God damn it, that is not the government's decision to make.
And that's coming from a man. Minda, what do you think?
I think that everyone's lost their mind. And I was one of those people who would be like, why are you going out and voting on just based on abortion rights? Because it's never going to be overturned. That's crazy. How could that be overturned at this point? Blah, 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 blah. Like the wrongest, because I feel like it's such an archaic thing to even be deciding for a female that there was like no way someone was going to come back and that was going to be changed. But, the Supreme Court and the federal government, and the president has failed us all as the entire system that's in place, and everybody sitting there representing people who really is just representing themselves and their self-interest. Don't get it twisted. People become politicians because they don't know how to do real things in real life, and they're just normally lawyers, and this is their way not to have to do regular lawyer stuff all the time, and because that's boring as fuck. So
Gio would know about that.
Yeah, these are losers.
Constitutional questions.
Like,
what?
If you got all this time to put into this, you're probably a fucking loser. That's the problem with politics in America, is we got the worst of the worst leading us. I will say this, I will be going out probably, I don't know what I'll be voting for with the presidential election. God, I'm just hoping somebody else like makes a way or something. But I will be coming out in Florida to vote for women's rights and to vote to recreationally legalize marijuana, which DeSantis thinks is so radical, it'll never pass in this state, which means he don't come to South Florida often.
Okay, it's definitely going to pass.
Of course it is.
Definitely.
It's not just South Florida, like it's all of
Florida. It's all of Florida. Okay, let's get over it. It's all of America. It is all of America, and it's not just Florida. Here they have something called Delta 8 that they sell in every gas station and liquor store, which is just weed. It's just weed with a molecule changed at the molecular level. And then it's somehow legal. Like, nobody gives a shit. The only people who care about the decriminalization and the legalization of marijuana is the prison industrial complex. That is it.
Maybe now some doctors, right? Like, if it goes wreck, I know some doctors who are going to be out of jobs. You know what I'm saying? So.
Well, yeah, sorry, Peggy. But they still do have medical marijuana. Like if you go to California or you go to Colorado, they have 2 different versions. They have a medical marijuana shop, and then they have a recreational marijuana shop. And there are slight differences and variations. So there will still be an industry. It'll just be a lot smaller.
Look at how quickly we switched over from women's reproductive
rights.
Right to medical marijuana. It's like,
by the way,
let me transition. It's like comparing women's NCAA basketball to men's NCAA basketball.
Girl, what you know about NCAA basketball? You haven't watched either.
No, I haven't. Not since I was in high school. People are actually watching.
I don't watch college sports at all.
People are actually watching women's NCAA basketball this year.
Yeah,
14.2 million people.
Who's to blame? Shout out to Flage. Yo, rapper turned LSU. Just finished up her sophomore season on the team. It's bitches like that got people watching. female college basketball. That girl's gonna blow. I mean, she's already blowing up, but she got it.
I have an opinion. The Geo is probably going to be on like like a dog on a bone. Um, I just find it a little I don't know, coincidental that everybody started watching in droves. 14.2 million viewers is higher than any news program on television.
Wow.
That is about the same people tuning into like a Joe Rogan podcast, who is the number one media personality in the country right now. But Caitlin Clark has now been said to be a huge part of this, which is the article that I sent you. Is her fandom following? She's basically the college level LeBron James for women's basketball. I'm just saying, I do find it coincidental that they're getting all this attention when a young white girl gets really good at the game.
Yeah.
Like, do you not
let me
see
just
a
say this.
correlation? I'm not saying there's a causation, but there's
Can I-
definitely
can
a
I-
correlation.
Since you brought it up, I did notice when you sent me the article, I thought for sure it was going to be about Angel Reese, but it wasn't.
Nope. Well, I think we did this a couple
But
years ago too, didn't we?
who has all the headlines?
But this is the
Angel
thing.
Reese. So the LSU team has all the headlines, but it's Caitlin Clark who's got everyone watching basketball.
Yeah, maybe we've been raging against women's professional basketball for so long that America has decided its penance to women's sports will be a interest in NCAA women's like, to be fair, college basketball for women is a little bit more exciting than watching women's professional basketball, which isn't really the case with guys, but they're a little like grittier and hardcore than the WNBA ladies. And
it's that part right there.
We all hate WNBA so much that we're looking like this is okay. Do you know what this is like? Let me tell you the exact
Tell me what it's like.
Parallel. This is like when our country stripped a women's right to choose from a reproductive level, and in turn they gave us the Barbie movie for empowerment. That is what this is, but in a different like microcosm. Like
It did
like
happen
they
at the same
took
time.
all our rights, and then they gave us some shitty fucking women's empowerment movie about a toy that we were all supposed to latch on to as some kind of like, I'm sorry. And that's what this brief moment in NCAA women's coverage is. And
sorry you get to have your daddy's baby, but watch this.
Yeah. We get it, but
actually, and I hate to be the bubble burster here, but I'm, I gotta be me. It's not really what it is it's the same reason why you don't see women's college basketball, everybody following it through the season. It's just the Sweet 16. It's about gambling. That's what it is. It's really just about gambling. It's because when you watch a normal college men's basketball game on television, the viewership is like 20 times less than when it's in the Sweet 16 or lower. And it's because people are greedy and gambling and money. That's the reason. So, but hey, take it on women's empowerment if you want.
Right.
Take the W when you get it.
Fair point, but I also want to say I think it's the controversy that's been built up over the last, year between teams like Caitlin and Angel, and that's what, like you say,
it's an exciting gamble.
It gives it more gritty.
It's an exciting gamble. Something has happened in women's basketball that's made it potentially a little bit more competitive right now, and it's not just something to gamble on. It's an exciting gamble to watch. And look, ESPN is in so deep with pushing gambling on America right now. They should be ashamed of themselves the way that they push that. And then they do their sad little disclaimers like, oh, if this is a problem and you're about to lose your house, call our 800 number. But they don't care because every commercial is about FanDuel and Hard Rock. Like, every commercial is about go out and gamble. I couldn't imagine having a
Oh.
kid watch that today and
I wouldn't
act
even
like,
know that. I don't know that. 'Cause
Well, you know,
I don't watch sports.
well, girl, maybe you shouldn't be doing sports.
John,
Who's to
well,
blame?
John
Right
Oliver,
there.
if you want to, what? If you want to learn more about the problem and the issue that she's talking about behind it, John Oliver did a deep dive like back in 2018 about it. You can find it on Yahoo. Just put in fantasy sports, John Oliver. It's a really fascinating 20 minutes. And it shows how it's all the nerds from high school are beating all the jocks in on this thing now. Because like 1% of the players win like 90% of the prizes. And it's because they're smart and they use like algorithms and figure out,
Yeah, but fantasy is different than what they're doing today. Today is straight up go gamble.
Oh,
go
yeah,
do
yeah,
parlays,
definitely.
go like
Yes.
real gambling, like you're at
Yeah.
the sports book in Vegas. And fantasy is one thing because usually there's not a big outlay of cash to play fantasy. It's
Mhm.
kind of for the season, but man, that continued gamble on every game situation that they got going on. That's
Oh, it's not gamble for
something
no, it's not
happening
gamble
there.
for the season anymore. That fantasy is not what we used to play anymore. Now it's by the game. So
Mhm.
now it's just like betting on anything else. My brother-in-law does it. Now, thankfully, he's really good at it and he plays within his means. He said, I put $100 in once and I've never touched it again. But he doesn't win. He doesn't bet a lot. He doesn't win a lot, but he does. I mean, he wins a lot frequently, but he doesn't bet much. $5 here, $5 there. But there are some people that can't control it, and it's just like any other addiction. She's right. It's sad. Uh, it's sad to watch. I know Shane Gillis did a sketch on it when he was doing Saturday Night Live about the new betting is now betting on which one of your friends is going to ruin their life by betting on sports, kind of a thing. But the other reason why it's a good, like you said, it's an exciting bet is because betting on bracket sporting events, right? When everybody fills out their brackets and all that, the payoffs are incredibly high. You could put $10 in, and if your bracket pays off, you could be looking at $10,000, depending on how many brackets you fill in and how many you get right. So that is a very exciting bet. And I think that is definitely what caused the uptick because other than the Super Bowl, the March Madness competition, at least in men's, has always been the second biggest event to gamble on in the country. So.
Right. I think that does it for blaming this week. I want to get to know our guest, Minda Mo.
All right. Well, what do you want to know?
Why did you wear that shirt? Because you wanted to blend in with the green screen?
Yeah, I wanted her logo to be on my titties for half the show, and the other
it has been. Don't worry.
I didn't know she was going all the way green screen. I didn't know we was at that level.
I like that.
But yeah, I kind of like if I boom right there. Yeah. You got lame girl. I mean, who doesn't want their logo on titties?
And who doesn't want their logo on titties? I got Minda's logo right here.
Laughing Spree.
Laughing Spree Fest. Thank you for joining us. So I feel like you have been on the podcast before, no?
Just to promote.
Yes, she has.
Oh,
yeah, you've been on before.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, promote when we did the festival in 2021.
That's right. Okay. Well, just as a refresher, tell us how you got started doing comedy.
By accident, I was writing my movie and they promoted a comedy writing class. Didn't occur to me. When they said it was at the Improv, it made sense. I knew stand-up comedy happened at the Improv, so why wouldn't they have a comedic writing class? What I didn't understand is that people signed up for classes to become a stand-up comedian, which as somebody who didn't watch or care about stand-up comedians, I would have never guessed in a million years that you could take a class for that.
Same.
And disclaimer, it usually is not going to work out for the person taking the class. You're probably not that funny. Otherwise, you would have found it out some other way. So I tried to quit immediately because I wasn't trying to stand on any stages. I was trying to just write my movie. And Super Hot D Napolitano was was teaching it. And y'all don't know who he is. So hot. And Renee was like,
Really?
yeah,
Yeah,
it
he's a
was
handsome man.
way back. It was like 20.
Well, I know him. I just didn't know she thought he was hot.
Everybody thinks he's hot. Oh my God.
Okay.
He was like
All
too
right. All
old.
right.
Like he was never an option for me because he'd already gone through the family and the marriage. Like, you know, he wasn't somebody who was at my level. He was too far ahead in life. So never like a dateable option, but like if you're gonna teach me something, you might as well look like that.
If I
You know
gotta
what I'm
look at
saying?
you,
Like if I
yeah.
gotta learn some shit that I didn't even know I was showing up to learn.
So wait, Dean kept you were like, let me go back to
No, they said just stay for a few classes, and if you don't like it, you can quit them.
Okay.
That was how they pitched it.
I would have never guessed Napolitano was who all the ladies were dreaming about. That's
Well, I guess you're not gay, bro, or you don't see it.
I
No,
I
even
guess
Dave
I
Dunn
don't.
was a
I can
handsome man.
appreciate the attractiveness of
Who would you have thought all the ladies are
No.
dreaming?
Dan. Well, your husband, and then also the other Dan. What's his name? His last name?
Why
I
is
can't remember. He looks like a model. He's like shredded up, blonde hair, looks like a model, a lot of tats.
Casso.
Yeah,
Oh,
Dan
well,
Casso.
now he's all beefed up, which is great for him. I know that's like what he's going for, and he looks incredibly healthy. Those muscles are a little too big for me. I like more of a au naturel
Wow.
look.
Well, I am
Um,
shocked.
I don't like
Napolitano, yes. Casso, no. That's crazy.
no way.
I
No.
never,
Yeah.
but you know what? Some girls do. Like my cousin, she thought he was really hot, you know?
Nah, if you
Wow.
got that many muscles, that means you ain't out having fun on the weekends.
That's that's true. You don't get there having a fun life.
Yeah, I'm not eating boiled chicken. Like we gotta, you know what I'm saying? Like I was just at like a really good restaurant last night. Like,
So
we gotta-
you
Yeah.
stayed in the class.
yeah, no, so I stayed, but I didn't do nothing with it because I thought it was garbage. And I didn't do any open mics. I did not go out on the scene. It was kind of like a one-time, let's call it experience moment. And I just let it go from there. And then a couple years later, I was doing my day job. And after the day was over, one of the guys who was operating the camera, who was I didn't know at the time, but it was Orlando Leyba. He was like, hey, I just got into stand-up a few years ago. I just won some contest called Florida's Funniest, and I'm gonna go out to LA. But
wow.
the way you talk and interact with people, I think you should try stand up. And he didn't know I took the class. He didn't know anything about the background. So that coupled with some dude who I was dating at the time, thinking it was super hot if I would do something like that. I wasn't doing it for him, but I was like, okay, it's not as dorky as it sounds to me, because I thought it sounded really lame and stupid. But then I realized other people thought that it wasn't that lame. And then I retook a class. And this time Eric Myers was teaching the class.
wow.
So I got like the two best people in the history of the classes teaching me. And Eric was the one who was like, nah, you can't do these classes. You got to go to open mics. You got to go out onto the scene. And so then for a few years, I did like an open mic once every 3 or 6 months and left it at that.
Yeah.
And then over time, it picked up.
Yeah, and with the classes, I think your instincts were absolutely correct. As Chris Rock and Jerry Seinfeld have both said, if you're in a comedy class, it's not a good sign.
Nah.
It's just not. And I know I caught heat over this before, this opinion, but it's just my opinion.
But I'm like Minda. I would have never known that there were classes I could take, and I ended up taking it probably only because someone paid for me to take it. Another comedian I had knew just from work. And then after I took it, I didn't want to stop. So I took it 3 times. And then I know, right?
That is like the opposite effect it had on me.
And
I
then-
took it and was like, y'all are crazy. I was like, who would do this?
No, I was loving it. I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. And I thought this is how you wait, no, this is how I thought how you got into comedy. So I was like gonna push you to the limit. And then Ramon was like, y'all need to go do open mics. And I was like, oh, what's that?
Well,
and then I found
luckily
out.
for me, I didn't get trapped in that. I didn't even know, like, I knew they didn't have comedy classes. I mean, I same as you, I thought they didn't have comedy classes, but I was always a huge comedy fan. I just thought you had to go through like a system or something. Then I went to a show at the Palm Beach Improv. I saw the middle and the headliner selling stuff, but then I saw the host off by himself, and I said, I'm gonna ask that guy. I was like, how do you get into this? And he goes, honestly, just write 5 minutes, and there's lots of places you can go. He told me about places. He told me about Funky Buddha, and then I went there and tried it. And that guy was Will Watkins, who, you know, is no longer doing comedy, unfortunately. But you know, he definitely helped me out and kind of put me on that path back then. So
Yeah, I will say the only thing that maybe class is good for is learning the etiquette, things like moving the mic stand behind you, understanding how to like get off the stage. So there's little things like that where I guess it cuts the learning curve of you just going out and fumbling at open mics, but don't get it twisted. Nobody who takes a class is a comedian. You have to go to like a grillion open mics and get shit on and realize that you actually suck when your friends and family aren't there supporting you. And then you become a comedian.
And then the classes will tell you you're a comedian, so say it. Like after you're in the class.
no, they do that.
Well, you
like,
I taught a few of those. I actually taught a few of those. And I think I actually said to a class one time, I quoted Seinfeld and Rockets, like, the fact that you're here is not good. So, but I would tell him to go out and do open mics because Watkins did it for me, which I find surprisingly ironic, given that at the time he was working for the Improv. He was supposed to be trying to sell those classes. And he was like, nah, just go do this open mic and see if you got it. So that was it.
So all right, so yeah, that's and then I just kept hanging around because I make funny videos, and that's why you should go to laughing.com, Instagram, YouTube.
Wait, we're not there yet.
Well, no, it said
no, we're still
moments, favorite,
still right here.
We still.
I got the discussion, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, I was just gonna ask you, what's your favorite venue to perform at? And you cannot say.
Can't say the Improvs. Too easy.
What? The favorite venue to perform at, one that pays me. I mean,
wow. Never had that answer.
That's a new answer for Blame Girl.
Yeah,
I love it though.
A well-paid talent spot.
Give us one that comes to mind.
No, I ain't gonna shout because then you're shouting out producers and stuff. You know what? The ones that pay me the best are my own shows. I pay myself great. So,
which one of your shows?
All
that
of them.
You've produced in the past that you like was your favorite?
I don't know. It's their favorite venue is a loaded question. It's actually, if you're a real comedian, there's no such thing. Crowds always change. Days, places, your set. Like, what's my favorite venue this month? I could have another favorite venue in 6 months. So I'm not answering that because
we're gonna part. Well, that's fine, but we're gonna part company on that. You know, real comedians don't have favorite places. Yes, they do. Like every interview I've ever heard with Bill Burr or Louis C.K., like they'll shout out exactly the theaters they love the most. You know,
theaters or the shows.
Venues.
The moments.
Okay.
You know, I had a really great show here. I had a really great show there. Yeah, everyone's gonna say, "Oh, I love doing Madison Square Gardens." Like, I get that. It's like y'all saying you can't say the Improv, but like venues that I may have done 4 years ago probably don't even exist anymore.
That's perfectly okay.
You know, I mean, the
first time I've ever had like, usually people are just like, this place.
Because they're stupid. I will say this. If I had to choose historically from an open mic perspective in South Florida, okay, if you want to dwindle it all the way down to something that niche, it does not exist, but by far, Funky Buddha in Boca was the best open mic that's ever existed in South Florida since I did comedy, and it existed before I did. It just did not outlive me. So, I mean, I can say that, but I can't even go to that damn open mic anymore. So thanks for ruining it, Corona. Constellation Brands or whoever bought them. But I mean, okay, what else you want to know? I gotta be at the pool at 1:30.
Okay. What's your Tell us about the most recent place you traveled. You just said you got back. I know where you went. Tell
Yeah,
us.
I went to Austin for the second time. We were there in 2022 before the mothership opened. Did more of a touristy vacation, checking out the city. Only did one or two shows when we were there. This was strictly a working during the day, comedy at night visit this time,
Mhm.
since the scene is much more popping than it was in 2022. It was kind of hard to work all day and then just do comedy at night. And really, there wasn't a lot of sightseeing or tourists or fun or relaxation. But I can say that in general, I get why people are moving to Austin. They have a lot of comedy going on and a general deficit of talent there. Now, I'm sure the people who go up at the mothership
Whoa.
are amazing. I'm not talking about Joe Rogan's crew who does the mothership. I'm talking about at a lot of the other venues, unless, maybe somebody's coming through town. I'm just going to say I was on multiple shows, like 5 or 6 shows, went to an open mic. So I saw a lot of the local talent and most of them were garbage. It was like a bunch of frat boys who says mean things on stage, laughs at their own joke, and that's what they think is comedy. And I don't know if that's like a Joe Rogan effect, like that's who his listeners are, and thus that from a comedic standpoint is who's flocking there. But like,
were people laughing at these frat boys?
No, I mean, sometimes, yeah, like, because sometimes the audiences were a bunch of frat boys too, you know what I'm saying? So it's frat talking to frat, but then sometimes they were just garbage. They would just go up and bomb and think they were like amazing. And it was, I was not impressed. I mean, I get it. Look, if you're a really great comedian, maybe this is the time to go to Austin because you can shine. There's no black people there. There's hardly any females doing comedy. It is a bunch of 20 and young 30-year-old boys there. That's who's there.
Yeah, but will you? That's
Wow.
my.
And I hope America doesn't think that's fucking comedy. Because
That's
Well,
my thing.
Go to the
I love that.
Wait, let me get in here. That's my thing about Austin. I just feel like it's still just a good old boy network.
There's no black people there. There's no diversity in the audience.
That's why I left.
There, I think so. In the last 10 minutes, Minda has insulted about 1,000 comedians, about 400 because she said the people on this show were stupid, and then another 400 in Austin. No,
yeah, just gave answers.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Isn't that
this is why I like talking to Minda?
I'm blaming.
She's
no. Listen.
This is what you want me to do.
No. I'm not criticizing this. I'm not criticizing this at all. I'm saying this is why I love talking to you, is because if you want unfiltered, like, go fuck yourself, whatever, like a real opinion from somebody, Minda never minces words ever.
That's why people don't like me. But you know what?
That's why they don't like me.
Yeah.
So what? Okay. Tell me your favorite that you've had in comedy that you can remember. I know you've been doing it a while, but what
was it? The festival? Was it?
I mean,
made you proud?
I think the festival was the most conflicting moment for me. It was like the hardest, most crippling thing I've ever done, but it had such a unique payoff where like, oh my God, I did it. And the buzz in the industry, as far as the production of the event and how good it looked and sounded, was all high grades, which, we weren't getting a lot of credit going in, not being from the industry or having a following in the industry or even having a well-known brand in the industry. We kind of went in with nothing. So like, there is a level of accomplishment to that. Though I can't say it's the exact lesson I wanted to learn, but you don't always get to choose the lessons you want to learn. So there, I learned a lot, and it has given me a lot of opportunities since then to, any deficits that I found in the process of doing it, I've kind of been able to make up or break even or go beyond that with some of the opportunities I've been afforded because of it. But, like, I think when it comes to favorite moments in comedy, it's really about the shows that you remember, and they could be almost anywhere, but those sets that are just so good that you wonder, like, why can't I do this every single time I come out on the stage. It should be just like this every time, and that would make me an amazing comedian.
Yeah.
And so it's those, I can think in my head of the sets in the last couple of years that I really covet. And those are my favorite moments because that's when I really feel validated for doing it.
Yeah.
When honestly, I would say most of the time I get off not satisfied with the performance that I put in. So it's always nice to walk off happy and saying I had a lot of fun doing that. And this is why I'm doing this.
Yeah, definitely.
Because
when
I don't
when
feel
you
that
get
way
off
all the
a stage and be like, this is why, because whatever the magic in that moment that happens and puts you there, I know exactly what you're talking about. It could be, I think my last time that happened, I was at maybe the Social Room in Fort Lauderdale.
Mm-hmm.
It just crushed. But one time before that, I was like, I followed Ellie Rodriguez. And I can't follow Ellie Rodriguez. You know what I'm saying? Like, I did not crush that time. So that second time that was probably my third or fourth time, but that room, I wish I could get that moment back.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So do you have other projects other than Laughing Spree that you want to talk about? I know you do Don't Tell.
Yeah, but that's not really my project. I work for Don't Tell. I didn't create it. I didn't create the following. When people come out to the shows, they don't come to the shows because I'm the South Florida producer.
You just feel like more an employee.
I am. That's what I am. I mean, I don't want to. And I'm not saying that in a disparaging way, but I'm always really conscious not to take credit for something I didn't create. And I think when anyone is bragging about those shows in particular, I think that they're failing to understand that not one person in that audience came out because you were performing that night. So that's not something for me to take credit for. So I don't really talk about it. Like when you go to Laughing Spree and you watch the videos and you enjoy them, I came up with that idea. I made the outline for that. I worked with the different comics shooting it. I put it together with the editor, like I wrote the VO, whatever it is, I created that. So I'm much more interested in, talking about the things that I am responsible for creating.
That makes sense.
But no, I mean, Laughing Spree is it. And right now I'm actually going to take a little bit of a step back from doing comedy so often so I can get back to producing the videos like we were.
Yeah.
It just producing shows every weekend and doing your own stand-up comedy and having a day job doesn't always give you all the time in the world to also produce videos. So you just got to choose where you put your time.
I know that's right.
So
I find it hard to do stand-up comedy and the podcast and my day job. So, and socialize with my friends and,
maintain non-comedic relationships. That's a whole other side of it.
Yeah, definitely. It's because my circles become like a lot of comics, but I definitely, I have friends that are not comics, so I definitely try to make sure I hang out with. All right, let's play. I know you want to get to the pool by 8:30, so 1:30.
We got time. I live close.
So, we're gonna play the blame game, and I just want to say, Minda is one of the most prepared people that I know. Like if you are out with her and you need water, Band-Aid, this, that, she has it. Who's to blame? How did you become so prepared?
The backpack. See, people be hating on the backpack because it seems so childish, but I can hold so many more good things in my backpack than I can in a purse. Because like if you're gonna wear one of the giant purses, then you might as well just wear a backpack and evenly distribute the weight across your back instead of it being on one arm. And so the backpack allows for resources.
Yeah.
There is a first aid kit in the backpack. There's multitudes of pens and highlighters. There's extra paper. Obviously, things I need like my wallet, my sunglasses, can still put a hoodie in there if I'm not quite cold enough yet. I feel like it's really underrated, but anyone who knows me in comedy knows you will almost exclusively, specifically at Mike's, see me with a backpack. Like I ain't trying to take a backpack to dinner. Don't get me twisted, but like at Mike, you got your notebook, like you have a lot more extra shit than you have like when you go to dinner.
This is why I've become backpack lady. Now I realize this because my friend here, she always carries a backpack, and she's right. You can put more stuff in there. You can be more prepared. But I'm backpack lady at dinner. You know, I'm not taking. I did take a.
But you got
I be
nice
trying to.
backpacks. You got like nice, cute little leather ones and stuff. What I do is I have an obnoxious red JanSport plaid backpack.
Mhm.
So it really creates boundaries and the places you can take it. I could take it to a mic, but I'm not going to take it to a nice dinner because it is a red JanSport
Yeah.
backpack.
Yeah.
Your backpacks are too nice.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's why I'm prepared.
All right. Do you have anything you want to promote and give out your socials?
Yeah, Laughing Spree TV on Instagram and YouTube, laughingspree.com. You can become a subscriber and we'll let you know when we drop new videos or you can win tickets to shows. 100% that is the focus, is Laughing Spree and getting the
Laughing Spree.
content out there.
You gotta
Yeah.
definitely check out Laughing Spree. I've been in some of the videos.
We've been in a lot of the videos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You can see Gio meet the assholes.
I'm an asshole.
Yeah, she got a
I'm an
dedicated
asshole.
video. We used to be called Tribe of Assholes, but
Mhm.
those who run the interwebs said, no, Minda, you're not allowed to utilize that name in any real fashion because it sounds too much like porn. And they canceled our YouTube channel. So Laughing Spree is the new iteration in which all this is housed.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. All right. I guess that brings us to Terry Wayne's words for white people. Minda, you might want to stick around because you
I'm gonna stick
are
around.
white people.
I'm here.
All right.
Okay. I struggled on this one a little bit because I saw a trailer for a new movie that's coming out called Civil War, and it really got me to thinking. Which I mean, obviously, is the intention. It's a thought-provoking movie, I guess, kind of wrapped inside of a action movie. That way, you could get certain people out to come out and see it, and then maybe make them think about bigger things. So because of that. The word for this week, and we're going specifically to white people because I don't see this in the Black or Hispanic communities very much. No, we're going to gout. Okay, that's the word of the week is gout. Okay, because gout is a disease that you can get. It causes a lot of pain. And how do you get it? You get it because you have too much red meat, you have too much seafood, you have too much alcohol, you have too much of excess of things that we think are high end, of things that we think are great. We attribute those steak and lobster with, success and gaining certain momentum in your life. And then if you have too much of it, it starts becoming painful. And I think that's what's happened in this country. I think we've had it too good for too long. And now whenever you don't get your way, you go and you storm the Capitol, or you try to get somebody fired because they didn't call you whatever you wanted to be called. And now it's turned us into such pansies on both sides of the political aisle that there are people in this country who are actually like, yeah, fuck them. We should go to war with them because they're not the right kind of Americans. It used to be we all stand together, and I don't agree with what you're saying, but I'll die for your right to say it. That's what it used to be, my fellow Americans. Now it's what kind of American are you? And if you keep going down this road and not being appreciative of the freedoms that we have, of the abilities we have, of the economy we have, if you still look at that with a blind eye because you still want more and more and more, trust me, it's gonna get painful, just like gout.
That was a good one.
Thank
I
you.
like that. I like that. And I don't think that's just for white people, actually. I think
Really?
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
the leader of the Proud
we
Boys
haven't had
is.
it good for too long, like white people, but
Well, that's why I said it's
of us are
specifically for
contributing
white
to the
people.
problem. Some of us are contributing to that same problem.
Well, that's why I said it's specifically for white people. We, as white Americans, have had it so good so long.
All right. Minda, you got any upcoming shows you want to promote? Or?
No. Taking a step back,
That's right.
doing a bunch of production. So like I said, look out for new videos. I got some of those coming out really soon.
When should we look out for the new videos?
Next couple of weeks, we'll start dropping some new ones, and
excited.
after that, hopefully it's every month, we'll have something new popping out. We're doing,
Smart.
yeah, keep it going. We went on like a streak for 60 days over the holidays where we did a post every day. And so now we're hopefully gonna get back with some new content to post about and roll out with that.
It's all about the content now, y'all. All right, Terry, what do you got?
I am happy to announce my hiatus from comedy is officially over. I have, now with thinking a little bigger, thinking, okay, round about October-ish, I'm not going to be able to go out and do comedy. So while I have the time, while I have the support, and not to mention I'm getting the itch. I wrote about 10 new minutes, just about living up here and being my age and having a baby and being married and and I don't know.
New
I
Terry,
just
a new Terry.
yeah, you know how it is. You get an idea in your head, you got these new bits, you got to go out and try them. So yeah, I'm going out this week. I've already talked to some comedians in Nashville and they do shows outside there and some of the smaller cities. So we're gonna slowly inch our way into the Nashville scene. Other than that, yes,
We can get some Nashville comics on. All right.
there. And other than that, the book is available on Amazon. It's Unclaimed Ashes. Please go get your copy because I want your money.
All right. And as for me, I don't have any comedy shows coming up, but I have been recruited to be the new host of trivia at O'Shea's.
Oh,
Palm.
whoa,
Yeah.
that's a good gig.
Yeah.
Trivia and comedy goes together.
It's gonna be working on my crowd work. So it's a weekly gig if you're free on Wednesday, 7:30. Other than that, until next time, keep blaming.